First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, this your brother Dawaba from the branch of GMS here in Chicago, coming right back at you with a little lesson. And this year is already starting off with a little bit of a bang. Let me just read a few things that have happened. You had an earthquake that happened in New York, and then you had a major earthquake that happened yesterday in Japan. And not only that, in Japan, you had a plane crash in Japan that I think resulted in 5 deaths. So you could sit up here and see that, man, the beginning of these years already on fire, And the beloved elder apostle Tahar coined this year the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And and as you see, prophecies are popping off the page, so it's just a matter of time before a lot of other things just start picking up and happening. So with that being said, you know what? Let me go ahead and read these few articles, and then I'll just grab a few scriptures. So the first article I'm going to read is from ABC News, ABC 7 News, and this is a 1.7 magnitude earthquake jolts residents awake in Roosevelt Island in Queens, and it's by AB7 News. It's by Eyewitness News, updated an hour ago, and I'm just gonna read a few. A little bit of it. Roosevelt Island, WABC. Officials say a 1.7 magnitude earthquake is believed to have jolted residents awake in Roosevelt Island and Queens and caused a series of small explosions that knocked out power on Tuesday morning. The United States Geological Survey reported the earthquake near Astoria, Queens. There were no reports of damage or injuries in New York City. The earthquake was reported at 5:45 a.m., the same time as the cause began on Roosevelt Island and the surrounding areas, including Astoria and the Upper East Side. Residents say they were jolted awake by a loud noise and they felt their building shake. It was like an explosion, sounded like a bomb went off. The building shook, it woke us up. We called downstairs and they said it happened to all 4 buildings, a resident said. Buildings at 2 and 4 River Road, just south of the Roosevelt Island Bridge and tram, experienced power outage. I'm just going to read I'm going to read a few more. There was an awful bang like a vibration, and you could tell it was coming from below the building, resident Mary Ellen Fattery said. The elevators were out, so we were up on the 8th floor, so we walked down, and there was so much commotion at the time, no one knew what was going on. No injuries have been reported. First responders were checking the structural integrity of the buildings on the island, but none seemed to be affected. So with that being said, let me sit up here and go to this, and you know what? Before I read this other one, let me go here. I looked this up. I said, according to USGS, the last seismic event in New York City was in June 2019. So the last time they had any type of earthquake was in June of 2019. And before that, there were no reports of any earthquakes since a series of events in December of 2004. So, and so pretty much in the last 20 years, they done had 3 earthquakes from what it says here. So with that, man, let me sit up here and go to here. Now, this is CNN, World Asia. Battle against time to find quake survivors as Japan lifts tsunami warnings and death toll rises. This is by Helen Reagan, Sahar Akabarzai, Chi Kobayashi, and Mayumi Mariyama. CNN, updated at 5:29 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, which was today. CNN, scenes of the devastation emerge along Japan's west coast Tuesday as rescuers race to save residents trapped in the rubble of a 7.5 magnitude quake that triggered multiple aftershocks and killed dozens of people. The quake shook the Noto Peninsula in the central prefecture of Ishikawa on Monday afternoon, collapsing buildings, sparking fires, and triggering tsunami alerts as far as the eastern Russia. At least 57 people have been killed by the earthquake, according to the Japanese public broadcaster NHK, citing officials from Ishikawa Prefecture. And 5 people were killed at a Tokyo. I didn't even read this part. And 5 people were killed at a Tokyo Haneda airport on Tuesday when a Japan Airlines jet collided with a Coast Guard plane on its way to provide earthquake relief. Japan's meteorological agency lifted all tsunami advisories along portions of the country's western coast Tuesday, but more than 24 hours after the quake struck, there has been limited access to the north part of the secluded Noto Peninsula. So I'm not going to go any further with that. It's kind of, I didn't read down further because I pulled up on NBC News. Also, the Japanese passenger plane's fiery collision with Coast Guard aircraft carrying earthquake relief kills 5. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. And this is NBC News World. Around 400 passengers and crew members safely evacuated the plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, but 5 Coast Guard members were killed in the collisions, officials said. So I'll read a little bit more of it. So it says January 2nd, 2024 at 5:18 a.m. Updated January 2nd, 2024 at 2:23 p.m. Eastern Time by Yarada Yamamoto and Larissa Gao. Tokyo. A passenger plane burst into flames as it landed at Tokyo Airport Tuesday after a collision with a Coast Guard aircraft that killed 5 people, officials said. All 379 passengers and crew members made it out of the Japan Airlines plane, Transport Minister Tetsuo Sato said at a news conference. The Coast Guard pilot escaped, but 5 crew members were killed, he added. And I'm not going to go into for any more of this, but the whole point I'm getting at is, as you see, the new year is starting. The New Year's has started off with a big bang. Earthquakes in Japan that killed over 57 people and counting. Two planes collided in Japan, where 5 crew members was killed on the smaller plane. None of the people were killed on the larger plane. And then now you're having an earthquake in Astoria, New York, in Queens, and Roosevelt Island. Didn't hurt anybody, but this just letting you know, look at all the signs that are around the world. Look at everything. So much is happening. So with that, man, hey, the first scripture I'm going to grab is 2nd Esdras 9. And I'm just going to read the first 4. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And as you see, man, there are many, many signs around us. And this is just the tip of the iceberg right here. I mean, there are so many things that's been happening, all over the world. Let's not even talk about the uproars. Let's not even talk about the economical situations that's happening in other countries, the CBDCs that's picking up a lot of talk about that, the M to the O to the T to the B, It seems like it's been a little quiet right now, but hey, the talk is going to probably ramp up real hard on that, So we see a lot of the things that are going on. And here it is, earthquakes in New York. New York in the past 20 years then had 3 earthquakes from, for what I read off the Google. And here it is, you had a large earthquake in Japan. And Japan seemed to be catching hell because then after that you had a plane crashes collide with each other, killing 5 people. So like I said before, hey, a lot of the prophecies are just popping off the page, man. When it comes to the earthquakes, when it comes to the famines, when it comes to the droughts. I mean, you're seeing so much uproars. Let's not even talk about the uproars everywhere. The wars or rumors of wars with Ukraine and Russia. No one's even talking about China and Taiwan. That's right there on the horizon. That's just a matter of time. So it's so much stuff going on, man. Hey, people better stop having their head in the sand. With that being said, I'm just gonna go over here to Matthew and sort of, This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Yahweh Shah Mashiach shall deceive many, and you seeing a lot of false prophets out there, and they gonna get dealt with. A lot of false prophets out there talking about the name don't mean anything, you know, calling him, saying you could call him Yo Play Yogurt and all sorts of nonsense. Sitting up here saying that the M to the O to the T to the B and all this other stuff is sleeping with white women and all whatever else they can come up with. And those are just a few things that these clowns that sit up here and said, it's just ridiculous. But Matthew 24:6, and here's the point. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And I'm thinking about in New York City, earthquakes don't happen in New York City that often. And that's one of the main reasons when I found that article, just to sit up here and see how many earthquakes actually happen in New York City. And it said 3 in the past 20 years. So it's not like it's a phenomenon that happens quite often. But these things are going to pick up. Just imagine, man, if it could happen in New York City, and they said they felt it, they felt it in a few places in New York City, Astoria, Roosevelt, and I think they said Queens, if I'm not mistaken. But here it is, you feeling it all over. And then you got Japan that had a huge one, 7.5. Can you imagine if a 7.5 earthquake hit the middle of downtown Illinois, Chicago, the middle of New York City? Can you imagine the destruction that it would cause? Man, just imagine the destruction that a 7.5 earthquake would cause hitting a major city anywhere in this country or multiple cities in this country. Man, the devastation would be horrible, terrible. Let me go Matthew 24:8. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And see, and this is the thing, man. All these are just the beginning of sorrows. All these are just things that's about to ramp up to the biggest finale that's about to happen. To the biggest finale that's about to happen. You know, the salvation of the 1/3, beginning with the 144, and the destruction of America, aka Babylon the Great, with 2/3 of our people. A lot of the goddamn Edomites, a lot of heathen. The destruction over there with them so-called, I wish I was this people. That destruction is gonna happen. So many things about to happen, man. Hey, and like the signs are just here. And hey, like the elder apostle Tahar coined the phrase this year, the year of hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And Jacob's trouble, man, is hey, like I said before, a lot of things are ramping up. But I just want to sit up here and get a few scriptures just on these earthquakes and just on that plane crash happening, because we see the signs, we see a lot of things. The Heavenly Father is visiting this place, man, and He about to visit it even harder. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful like that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, I always say stay prayed up, brothers. Pray for each other because we're almost up out of here. So with that, I like to say Kwam Yasharella and Anya Habatham Akim. Shalom.